Hey guys, number one Marmaduke fan here. I've been cleaning my room and I finally found where I put Black Ops USAGI. I sure hope my friends weren't wondering why I hadn't done a review. Sorry guys, had to clean my room. All right, Black Ops USAGI, Hair Trigger, or maybe it's also called Black Ops 2. All right, so this is going to be like one of my brutally honest reviews. I love it. You should go get it. I'll point out my little OCD moments and also kind of like tell you about cool little things I caught. So my basic review of Black Ops 1 is this is a perfect comic. It's reintroducing kind of the ethos of Captain America stories back into comics. It's a heightened concept of a little rabbit who's also an elite warrior for the USA. And this one introduces a couple new members of the Black Ops team, including Rigor Tortoise and Patriotter. And I said Patriot R the whole first half of the book, and then finally Patriot R, Patriot R, Patriotter finally hit me. I dig it. All right. So Mark Pellegrini, I just think he does dialogue well, and he does like big exciting setups that are kind of comedic based on how ridiculous they are, and he finds a balance between kind of like the finding humor in the ridiculous setup, but then actually getting you invested in the drama and the action of it. Like I really love USAGI's fighting style. I'm really getting a connection with this series. I don't know. I might be writing some fan fiction for it or something. So hopping into it, POTUS Thump and Mark actually mentioned last time I was on their stream that this one is kind of like a you can read it backwards and forwards kind of a book, and it meets in the middle. I think the recommended reading order would be to start with this one, and then kind of once you get to the point where it references the other story, then you can like hop over there. You could either like finish the first story and hop over to the second one, or you could maybe do a little hopping back and forth. See what I did there? All right, so a couple quick questions, because apparently like Easter eggs are a big thing for Mark and Tim's books. I've been trying to read this and I can't quite get what it says. I think it says Aaron's third enemy, but I have a feeling like I'm not reading the second word right. Anyway, there's a lot of one of the interesting things about this is that Tim did the first story, but there's some different artists like Matthew Weldon and a couple others who did covers in the second story. So I really dig the art style of these two illustrations. I'm not even sure if Tim, is this you? Because it looks like your construction style, but the painting style is completely different. I don't know. Like this might be a cool. If Tim, if you're trying out something new with your style, I'd like to see maybe like a whole book like this, because this is really dope. Even kind of like the digital effects, just kind of like add a little bit more flair to it. But the light brushwork around the collars, I think it's Tim's style based on the way the eyes are drawn, but I could be wrong. So the first story follows USAGI. It's got the same kind of things I love it from Black Ops 1 and continues that. Some cool over-the-top anime-style villains, like a cool, exciting situation where a terrorist who's a moth but actually very threatening is going to release a bunch of crazy animals on the world. What was the thought I had about it from a storytelling perspective? I think I was going to say something about manga inspiration, but I'll get to that later. One of my favorite subtle gags was the comic speak that the animals use, and the gag is set up very well that you'd have to actually read carefully to piece it together. So you read like the otter, scree at Black Ops, and what he understands it to be is just him screaming. He doesn't understand what the word is. Then later, if you jump forward, you see that the otter was actually trying to say something specific to him. And when Black Ops thinks he's saying something to the otter interprets that as him being like a little whiny baby. I love kind of the Luke Skywalker Han Solo dimension where Usagi was a pet rabbit, so he's a lot more compliant and he likes people. And Patriotter was a wild animal, so he learns stuff and he can be a soldier, but he's a lot more of a lone wolf type who doesn't play well with others. I love that dynamic, and it's really well done. There's a great payoff in Patriotter's story for it. So love what Mark is doing with kind of like the screwball, Mickey Mouse screwball language, something that's completely unique to I don't know. I would like to see an animated adaptation of this. They might just have to like do subtitles or maybe pictograms or something. But it's something that only would work in the comic version of it. This is the scene I was thinking of with like this just dope sequence where Usagi kicks up the plank of wood, flips in midair, kicks it right at her. Dope two-part fight technique. I also love kind of like the acrobativeness of his style. Jumping ahead. Okay, spoilers for Black Ops 2. Go read it. So poor Hair Trigger, she gets Luke Skywalker. But I noticed this panel because Tim's doing something different with his coloring with a bright red and white to emphasize this. And what's important about this is he's not just doing this willy-nilly. He's doing a different coloring technique on an important narrative moment. And then even kind of like a My Hero Academia style screen with the manga action lines. He does a really good job of incorporating a few manga elements into his style, but not just aping manga. He still makes it work for a Western style comics feel. So jumping back, oh wait a second. I want to make sure I get the full name of the creative team so I can give all of them their due. All right, so Tim Lim did the art and the colors for the first story. So Mission Patriotter and Penelope, those stories, the art and colors were done by Matthew Weldon, Timothy Lim, and Nestor Redola, who, and I haven't run into Nestor yet. Is he on Twitter? All right, so I don't know who did what, so the fact that they're all credited together, I'm guessing that means there were some shared responsibilities. I thought the coloring looked like Tim's coloring style, like a similar coloring style to the main book. I like seeing different artistic interpretations of USAGI, and for the most part, they kind of I could tell they were kind of switching artists between key scenes, so it would be like scene transition, new art style, but there were a few times where I could tell the artist was changing mid-scene. Oh wait, I'm jumping ahead a bit. The alternate cover. Okay, the back cover was done by Luigi Terrell, who I know has done some of the covers for Rags, and a variant cover was done by Reagan Long. I didn't see that on the Indiegogo. Has that not come out yet? And Kelsey Shannon did the pin-op. So props to all the artists. And Brian Ball from Team Rags, I guess he's in the special thanks. So I'm guessing he helped out maybe with some like military consulting, something like that. All right, so flipping back to the Luigi art, we get Penelope's story. Only criticism I'd have of this is it'd be nice if I had like a note saying this is a continuation of blah, blah, blah. So I'd say, okay, this fits in at this timestamp of the whole military sequence. That being said, is this Weldon's art? It looks a bit like some of I'm not familiar with Weldon's style yet, but maybe a little bit more of a loose or what would be the word for it? Kind of like a 2D style. It kind of reminds me of like when Frank Miller would experiment with the human form and with shape. Little cartoony in places. One of my quibbles here is I feel like some of like things like these hands are meant to be like really simple, like quick, like gestural like idea of a hand, and I feel like a really hyper simple color style is a better fit for that because it's sort of like one shape, one color, and this feels like it's trying to model the hand and show like the three-dimensionality of the palm, which I think is fighting the two-dimensionality of the drawing of the hand a little bit. And I can tell the second artist, I'm not sure which is which is Weldon and which is great. I want to learn the artist. Okay, this is my punishment for not paying close attention. All right. The new artist who I haven't learned yet is Nestor Redola. Okay, so I don't know which is Nestor Redola and which is Matthew Weldon, but one of these artists also clearly draws animals a lot, and there's a nice, like, almost taxonomy style to it with cross-hatching. So this kind of works, all right? So Penelope story, new artist for Patriotter's story, and then once in a while, like, it'll feel like maybe the new artist working. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of like curious what the artistic division was, and I kind of like the nerdy part of me likes when Marvel will actually like lay out every page and who did what on every page. Oh yeah, and here's this great payoff where Patriotter's understanding of Usagi's words are completely different than Usagi's understanding. So it's sort of like they can speak this little cartoon language, but it does not necessarily always translate. And this is a dope image. So I like that there's maybe a little bit more detail or a little bit more seriousness on serious scenes, and then kind of like quick little talky scenes are a little bit more simplified. So I guess my quibble is I think there could have been maybe a little bit more separation of this artist does this chunk and then this artist does this chunk, so it would feel like, oh, scene transition, new scene, things feel different. Whatever the work division was, like I caught it because I'm OCD, but I actually feel like it's pretty natural throughout, and I do like seeing different artistic interpretations of the characters. So, great character, a great arc. Oh, I marked this because I is this an Easter egg? It looks to all the world to me like old school Green Arrow's costume because it's like an extremely specific detail of having the red feather in the hat. But maybe that's an Easter egg for something else. But I'm wondering if that's Green Arrow. All right, I actually didn't find that many Easter eggs in this one, but a really solid book. I'm happy I backed. I will continue to be backing Black Ops. I just found out that I'm going to be an uncle to a nephew and a niece, so I cannot wait to read Black Ops books to my nephews and nieces coming soon. With that, I love you guys. I love Team Black Ops, all the creatives who contributed. Lim, Weldon, Pellegrini, Williams. Good job, guys. Great book. Looking forward to the next one. Catch you later. Woo!